Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Sage. I'm the Executive Director of the AR for Enterprise Alliance, the area. And this is one of our many now growing library of fireside chats. I'm really excited to be here with Dave Kleiner, a real expert in this space who's worked for Toyota and led their XR work for a long period of time, and also a friend as well. So, Dave, we're going to ask you 3 questions, and it'd be great to get your insights into your experience and things like that. So let's just start with, please introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your journey to becoming an XR expert at Toyota.
Sure, Mark. Well, as you know, I'm Dave Kleiner. I work at Toyota Motor North America within the office of the CTO, so Chief Technology Office. And we kind of created our own lab here called Applied Tech Research Lab because we wanted to do something that was innovative, but we wanted to be readily usable. So none of this, academic type work. We can say, okay, there's a real business problem. Let's use technology to solve that. And I use that as a platform to explore a number of XR type solutions. And this started maybe 5 years ago. I was originally hired in as a chief of staff for another part of the IT division. And I noticed a gap. So we didn't have in North America any type of AR capability or XR capability. And so I started developing a few prototypes and got some traction there. And then when COVID hit, I had a chance then to move over and build ATRL and make this a full-time job as opposed to a part-time job. So that's how it started, and it's still evolving as we move forward. So.
Fantastic, thank you. Now I know I've been lucky enough to speak to you a number of times that you've done multiple XR projects. Perhaps you give a little bit of overview of a few of them, and then maybe focus on some of your favorite ones, either your kind of personal ones or the ones that you've gained most benefit for Toyota.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so we started with app-based applications, and then we moved into web-based, and then now we're doing more headset-based type solutions. So with the app-based ones, it was kind of easy to start with because ARKit and AR Core are out there, so the barrier to entry is really low, and everyone has these devices in their pockets, so user adoption should be high. So the first experiment we did was a user's manual, or an owner's manual really, where we had it recognize the interior of the vehicle, all the switches, dials, and knobs, and we'd put labels on it, and then you could click on the label and it would pull information from the actual owner's manual, and maybe even link to a YouTube channel if there was one, and how these various features worked. And that got a lot of excitement and everything. We say, hey, we don't have to print owner's manuals anymore. But then legal came in and said, we still have to print owner's manuals. So that kind of put a pause on that. But we're thinking that might come back as we get into more of the green type notion here, where we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint and things like that. So having a printed owner's manual, which no one ever reads, in the glove box, we could say, hey, we're a greener company now by not having that. But oddly enough, that first application or that prototype is still alive today. So when we started moving into our web-based AR approach, it's still there. So when we built a virtual showroom at the beginning of the pandemic, and those components were reused. And so as you transition from the outside, so we had you do a tour of the outside of the vehicle holding up your iOS device. We'd project the vehicle and you could walk around it. And then as you approach the vehicle, it would transition to the interior. And again, you can click on all the buttons and whatnot, and it would tell you what these features were. So that I'm big about reuse. So every time I get to reuse something, I really get excited. So that was one where I kept my costs down and my time frame really short because I knew how to do that. And so that's kind of what happened there. And then along the way, we were asked to look at accessory sales, because what's happening is that people have a hard time visualizing what their vehicle looks like with various accessories on it. So we built a similar one, again, app-based, where you'd lock onto a physical vehicle and you could fly accessories onto the vehicle. But I had to outdo myself there. So the challenge I gave myself and the team was, let's not only have it put up accessories on the vehicle, let's actually recognize what vehicle it is and then give the user a list of applicable accessories. So we worked on the Tacoma, which is a pickup truck, and it comes in various cab and bed combinations. So we recognized what type of cab it was and how long the bed was, and say, oh, these are the accessories for this combination. And we had a lot of success with that. but adoption didn't really happen. The barrier to the entry on all of these apps was the creation of the content. Getting that AR 3D content developed was just holding us back. We don't have a pipeline that's really good for that. So that's what held us back on that one. And the Toyota accessory one was one of my favorites. So we did a video with that. We presented that at AWE, and we kind of set it to some disco music. It was a lot of fun. When we moved on to web-based, we were thinking, okay, now we were looking at how can we really get to a larger market. We have an education component with all our sales and marketing that we're trying to get people to understand what this vehicle is about or the product's about, or what we're really trying to be as a green company or a carbon neutral company. So we have two coming up right now. They'll be released, we'll say like February 1st. The first one is the Toyota Crown. You'll probably seen that car being advertised in the North American market. It's the first time in about 70 years that car has been in the North American market. So it's making a comeback. And we're going to have a virtual tour based on a web browser. So you can look at the exterior of the vehicle, again, have clickable hotspots, transition to the interior, and we even have some animations on that. But the idea is that now everyone can have a virtual tour of it, regardless of what device they're on, whether it's laptop, desktop, phone, or even a headset. As long as you can run a browser, you're able to view this. And we're going to collect some data on that. We want to see how that actually influences people's buying decision. And that's what I'm really excited about, see how that one works. But the one that I really like the best is another web-based one called, it's for our Port of Long Beach in California, and it's called Trigen. And Trigen actually is the production of hydrogen, electricity, and water. And we produce this from, you'll never believe this, manure. So I know.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
So we talk about the full circle of reusability here. So you can have your steak and then, the byproduct. Yeah. Anyways, so what we do is we were able to use all three of those components to then power the entire campus at the Port of Long Beach. So it powers the facility where we do all our accessory installs. It also provides water for the car wash, and then the hydrogen we're using for our fuel cell electric vehicles, both the trucks and the cars. So the trucks, we have the Class 8 Kenworth trucks, and then for the vehicles, we have our Mirais that are available for sale in California. And then the excess hydrogen and electricity we're also selling to the local community to offset their carbon footprint as well and bring down their utility costs. So that one actually is my favorite because it's a true education campaign, and it does have a global impact. And we're trying to show that you can be a green company even though you're working in a very filthy environment like a harbor or a port facility. And that's something that Toyota's going to be pushing forward quite a bit. And then lastly is we've been working with Microsoft with guides. And because we're using guides, we have to use HoloLens. And this program turned out really well. We went to Toyota Logistics Services, which not only ship all our vehicles, but they also accessorize them. And we're faced with having to train new people. And then this onslaught of all these new vehicles coming out, mostly electrified. So we have new people that have never done an accessory install before, and then we have vehicles that no one's ever seen before. So everyone needs to be trained. How are we going to do this quickly and effectively? So we started experimenting with guides in the HoloLens, and the point here was, I've learned from my other mistakes. I said we have to have user-generated content because it just costs too much to go outside and have someone build 3D content for you. So within about 8 hours, I can train anyone to use guides on a PC to create their content, then to put on the HoloLens, and then to locate their holographs where they want them. And then anyone now can take this and become an expert almost overnight in how to install the accessories. And where this really helped us was we've taken our training from instructor-student 1-to-1 ratio to one instructor to many students, so we can train more people at once. So the only thing that's limiting us is how many HoloLenses we can put in the field at once. And we don't expect people to wear these all day long. They just wear it long enough to go through the instruction. And oddly enough, it's our more senior folks, our seasoned folks that love this. One, they get to impart their knowledge on the next generation, so they love generating the content. The other thing is they tend to rotate. We do this just to keep people fresh. And if they haven't seen something in a while, say it's been 3 months since they've done that install, or it's a new vehicle, they have the corporate knowledge and the muscle memory, and the base skills to do it, but they haven't seen that vehicle before. Put down a HoloLens for a few minutes, they go, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. And then they're up to speed, they've upskilled themselves and they're ready to go. So between TAR, the Port of Long Beach with the Trigen, and then the HoloLens, those are my three favorite. Those have been the three successful ones. And I'm really enjoying this work with all this. And it gets me to outside. I get to travel all over Toyota. I've been at every port facility, almost, yeah, all the manufacturing facilities now. And it gets me out of the office. So I enjoy that. And people seem to gravitate towards the new tech. They're not afraid of it, which I thought for sure there's going to be a lot of pushback. But everyone seems to be embracing it without much issue. So it's been good.
That's amazing. Yeah, thank you. I guess just to summarize, because I think there's some amazing insights in there, but just going back, you talked about starting simple and using devices that we've already got. I think that's a really good kind of tip for anybody trying to deploy the technology. I love your kind of the reuse, certainly of the user-generated content. I think that's another important part. Can you get as much user-generated, especially with those experts? That's capturing that kind of tribal internal knowledge parts. Developing that pipeline, I think, is very insightful and something companies need to do. And then finally, you're doing kind of web AR or using the browser in terms of that deployment part that allows you to use multiple devices and kind of build once and deploy multiple times. So yeah, just to summarize, there's some amazing kind of information and tidbits in there. So thank you for that, Dave. So let me ask you the last question. You've done a load of stuff. It's been amazing just listening to that. But we know, and people in the industry know, that it does come with some challenges. So can you maybe talk about some of the challenges that you've encountered and any insights or things you can share about how to overcome them?
Sure. So the biggest challenge is when talking to senior leadership is they still view everything XR related as a video game, and they don't see the business application. Oddly enough, we're having, I have various vendors come to me because they're saying, you guys are leading the industrial metaverse. And, it does work well in industry. It translates very, very well, especially when it comes to training or when it comes to visualizing your assembly line, or even large layouts, even at like a port facility. So once I can show them that we have these efficiencies, I get some buy-in. But like I said, in the industrial side, yeah, they see it right away, because on the industrial side, we see speed. I can show them how much quicker we can make decisions, or their people can make decisions when they can visualize everything, and that sells immediately. So I don't have any problem on the industrial side with AR or XR. So those are the challenges, and I'm not quite sure how to overcome them. And one theory is to create a separate immersive tech shop. I don't know yet. We're going to give it a try. Hopefully next fiscal year, when we can try that out and see how that works. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. And again, thank you, Dave. So it's really insightful. I think I would, probably 2 years ago, maybe even 18 months ago, I was kind of saying, the XR department's made it when it becomes part of the IT department. And actually, like you've said, I don't believe that's true anymore. And actually, the home often needs to be in the business unit, because they're the ones that are getting the return on investment. So I think it's a really interesting evolution that needs to go on. We're seeing all these new job titles come up in the industrial metaverse and metaverse. Where does it actually sit within the organization? And I think that's something the area can certainly do some kind of analysis and make some suggestions, or at least write some blog articles about. I think your other part about ROI is really interesting, and I, again, like your good self, we have an ROI calculator within the area. We've have a particular use cases that you can do and use it, and it shows the return on investment. Marketing, there's still the question, like you say, does it mean the buy button? But that, I'm sure analysis and things like that will come. So David, I think we'll leave it there, if that's okay. It's been really great to listen to you and your insights, and please carry on the great work, and maybe update us a little bit in the future when you've found maybe another home, or the right home, or even staying in the same home, but you continue to deliver on some of these projects. So Dave Kleiner from Toyota, thank you very much for your insights today.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.